In a modest brick house in Spartanburg, South Carolina, a retired psychology professor laid out 800 stuffed animals on the living room floor. He gave each one a unique name: Inky, Wonka, Bamboozle, Decoy. Then he called his Border Collie into the room and said the name of just one of them. His dog, without hesitation, walked across the floor and picked up the right toy every single time. Her name was Chaser. She was born in 2004. Her owner was Dr. John Pilley, a retired professor of psychology at Wofford College who had spent his career studying animal learning. When Pilley got Chaser as a puppy, he decided to do something nobody had ever seriously attempted with a dog. He decided to teach her language. Pilley's protocol was disciplined and exhausting. 4 to 5 hours of training every single day for 3 years. He would show Chaser a toy, name it out loud, hide it, ask her to find it, and reward her with play. Not food, almost never food. Border Collies do not work for treats. They work for the chance to work. By the time Pilley and Chaser published their first peer-reviewed paper in the journal Behavioral Processes in 2011, Chaser knew the names of 1,022 individual objects. 1,022. To put that in context, the previous record holder, a Border Collie in Germany named Rico, knew about 200. Chaser had 5 times the vocabulary of any documented animal in the scientific literature, but the raw count is not what made Chaser important. Lots of animals can be trained to associate a sound with an object. What Chaser demonstrated was something deeper. She understood that words refer to categories. She understood grammar. She understood, in a meaningful sense, what a noun is. Here is one experiment that should not be possible if you believe dogs are just stimulus response machines. Pilley taught Chaser 3 category words: toy, ball, frisbee. Toy meant any of the 1,000 objects she could fetch. Ball was a subset. Frisbee was a different subset. These words were never linked to a single specific object. They were linked to a whole class of objects. Pilley would say, find a ball, and Chaser would bring back any ball. Find a toy, and she would bring back any of the 1,000 items. She could correctly sort the same physical object into multiple overlapping categories. A blue rubber ball was both a ball and a toy. She understood hierarchy. The most striking experiment came next. Pilley would put a group of familiar toys on the floor along with one brand new toy that Chaser had never seen and that had never been named in her presence. Then he would ask for the new toy by a new word she had also never heard. Chaser would scan the pile, pause, and walk directly to the unfamiliar object. She had reasoned, by exclusion, that a new word must refer to a new object. This is called inference, by exclusion, or mutual exclusivity. It is one of the cognitive mechanisms that human toddlers use to bootstrap their vocabulary. When a 2-year-old hears a word they do not know and sees an object they do not recognize, they automatically link the two. Chaser did the same thing, and she retained the new association 4 weeks later when she was tested again. Pilley went further. He taught Chaser verbs. 3 commands: take, paw, and nose. Take meant pick up in her mouth. Paw meant touch with her foot. Nose meant touch with her snout. He could then combine any verb with any noun. Paw Wonka, nose Inky, take Decoy. Chaser would parse the 2-word sentence and execute the correct action on the correct object. That is a kind of syntax. It is the most basic kind, just a verb plus an object, but it is the foundation of language. Chaser had crossed from word learning into sentence comprehension. No non-human animal had ever been documented doing that with spoken English. Now, the obvious question is every dog secretly capable of this? Probably not. Pilley and other researchers were clear that Chaser was an exceptional individual, even among Border Collies. In follow-up studies, researchers screened hundreds of dogs for gifted word learners. They found fewer than 1 in 100 could learn more than a handful of toy names, regardless of how much training they received. What Chaser proved is not that every dog is a linguist. What she proved is that the upper bound of dog cognition is far higher than science had ever credited. The ceiling on what a dog brain can do, given the right genetics, the right environment, and 12,000 hours of dedicated teaching, includes the building blocks of human language. That is a staggering result for a species whose ancestors split from ours hundreds of millions of years ago. John Pilley died in 2018. Chaser died the following year at the age of 15. She had appeared on 60 Minutes, on Nova, in the New York Times, and dozens of peer-reviewed papers. After her death, her brain was donated to Duke University, where researchers are still studying it for clues about what made her learning capacity so extraordinary. Her real legacy is not her vocabulary. It is the question she forced the scientific community to take seriously. If a dog can do this, what else can a dog do? What have we been missing? Because we never bothered to ask. Somewhere right now, there is a Border Collie staring at a tennis ball with the same intense focus Chaser had. Most of them will never be trained the way she was, but every one of them carries the same potential under that soft skull. The question is just whether anyone will sit on the living room floor for 3 years and find out. 1,022 words and counting